Hello, welcome to today's deck. We're playing Serving Vampires. I call it Serving Vampires because we're using the main card of the deck idea was Dying to Serve. Dying to Serve is an enchantment that whenever you discard one or more cards, you get to create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. I thought the card worked very well with Vampire Blood synergies because all those blood tokens that you generate usually are just used as you discard a card, draw a card, and that's, you fish into more playable cards. I decided that by trying to play with Dying to Serve, we are giving those blood tokens extra use. And with the idea of how can we make more use of blood tokens, we decided to go with the 3-color version of vampires here, so we can also make use of not only Edgar the Charmed Groom for the vampire synergy bonuses of other vampires you control get +1/+1, but we also are going with the idea of Rite of Oblivion. For 1 white, 1 black, we can sacrifice any non-land permanent to exile any non-land permanent. Very powerful removal spell. Only drawback is it's a sorcery. It's doubly good just because it also has flashback. So for 2 mana, play it once. 4 mana, play it a second time. So you really have 2 removal spells in 1 with this, and it's a very solid card for the deck. To make extra use of all of our blood tokens, we have Deadly Dispute. As you know, you can sacrifice any creature or artifact, draw 2 cards, get a treasure token. Helps with the color fixing, gives us some draw power, very powerful. Lastly, for the other ways of using our blood tokens is, actually I really shouldn't say lastly, we have Voldaren Bloodcaster that whenever any of our creatures die, we get blood tokens. If we create a blood token that happens to have 5 or more blood tokens in play, we get to transform it. And the transformer into the Bloodbat Summoner means that we can turn all of our blood tokens, we can turn a blood token at the start of each combat into a 2/2 flying bat token that has haste. And so we get a lot of aggressive air power if this ever does transform. Our actual last use of blood tokens is in the form of Angie, Maid of Dishonor. It allows you to sacrifice any creature or blood token for 2 mana to drain your opponent of 2 life, so they lose 2 and you gain 2. Angie is one of our cards that also helps us generate blood tokens. That way, whenever a vampire enters the battlefield, you get to generate a blood token. It can be able to trigger once each turn, but that's still good value. Our other methods to generate blood tokens, we have the Blood Tithe Harvester. Enters battlefield, get a blood token, sacrifice it at sorcery speed to give any creature -X/-X, equal to twice the number of blood tokens you control. We have the Voldaren Epicure. A 1/1 enters battlefield, deal point damage to your opponent, create a blood token. Our last blood token generating card is Vampire's Vengeance. This serves as a nice sweeper for 2 damage against our opponent because it deals 2 damage to each non-vampire token, or non-vampire creature on the board. The only downside is this will accidentally kill our zombie tokens, but that usually doesn't get in the way too much. Our last of our removal comes in the form of Baleful Mastery, as sometimes we just need a target removal that doesn't require a sacrifice, and this helps us not only get rid of creatures, but as well planeswalkers as well. And with the alternate mana cost to be able to pay 2 to give your opponent a draw is nice in a pinch. Our last card to round out the deck is Hungry for More. Generating 3/1 haste, trample, lifelink tokens that we must sacrifice at the end of the turn is actually a very solid card for the deck, and with it being a flashback card for 3 mana, means that it still stays at a very affordable mana cost to, even if you create the token, attack with it, and the opponent chooses not to block it or survives the combat, you're able to sacrifice it to a Deadly Dispute or even a Rite of Oblivion for extra value. So lots of strong synergies with the deck. The last card to make note of, we are running to the Voldaren Estate because we are a vampire deck. This does allow us to pay for mana of any color for vampire spells at the cost of 1 life, but it also does have the ability to create blood tokens for 5 mana with a mana reduction for each vampire we control and play. In some cases, this means that we can just tap it and create a blood token for free. Since we are playing in a best of 3 format, we do have a side deck here. Gift of Things to help us against the aggro decks. Falcon Wrath Forebear against the control decks. Vampire's Vengeance, one more copy for just sweeping up against the aggro decks. Raven Enfeeblement for the white decks. Burning Hands for the green decks. And Goblin for the control decks or Reanimator decks. That's a general rundown of the deck. We'll hop into some games and let's see how it functions. Alright, this actually seems like a very solid hand here. This Epicure to a Deadly Dispute with a Rite of Oblivion for control and the mana to play it all. Alright, reverse some kind of control deck. Going to Deadly Dispute our Blood off right now. Get the draw. Doing it now so that way the opponent didn't have the possibility to interact with it. Unfortunately, we drew a lot of lands. Oh, an Ambitious Farmhand. Okay. Opponent actually might be playing creatures with their deck. So this Vampire's Vengeance might actually prove useful. An Ingenious Smith. That's interesting. Opponent's just passing the turn. Let's go ahead and put Edgar on the board, see how the opponent reacts. We'll even attack it. This is a solid trade for us if they blocked. Sword of the Realms. Okay. Kind of see what the opponent's doing here. We'll take the damage. So to take out that, we'll use our Rite of Oblivion. Just trying to think what other card we should use. I think we'll just put down another white source. Sacrificing our treasure to get rid of that. And since the opponent is tapped out, we will use some Vengeance. And with Rite of Oblivion in our graveyard and a blood token here, we have the ability to answer most spells our opponent may play. Alright, we will get rid of your equipment. Auto Tapper, doing Auto Tapper things, unfortunately. Because I was thinking about using Hungry for More here. With the trade of Edgar, though, we'll start getting ourselves some Vampire tokens. I do have to admit, the opponent's playing a very unique deck. I do like their creativity here. I don't know how successful their deck will be in the long run here. Let's go ahead and put this on red. We'll just pass the turn, because we can always use Hungry for More after Edgar gets back on the board. Alright, Healing Potion. Let's see, enters battlefield, draw a card, sacrifice it, gain 3 life. Alright, Ingenious Smith finds them. Blackstaff of Waterdeep. Alright, so you may choose not to untap it. During untap step, another artifact becomes a 4/4, becomes artifact creature as long as the staff remains tapped. Activate only as sorcery. We'll just take the hit. Unfortunately, they're going to use this to animate their Healing Potion. Okay, this is a fun little trick we have here. Let's bring this out. Let's go ahead and tap like so. And that way we'll be able to just keep cycling Edgar from play and the other form. We'll hold off on doing Hungry for More for another turn. So that way we can kind of alpha strike this with 2 Hungry for Mores as well as the Edgar. Alright, opponent's got the Plow. The Staff of Waterdeep and Plow is a combo. Unfortunately, the opponent can transform this to make it have lifelink. So that make it swing for 5. I'll tell you what, we're going to actually get rid of Farmhand. The reason why we're doing this is the opponent can replay Farmhand. But what we were setting up was that if they went for the transform, they wouldn't be able to also re-equip it. Alright, now they're mana short from doing the activate. So we should have a very solid attack here. Opponent seems to have some kind of interaction. Alright, let's go for our Hungry for Mores. We're going to tap specifically for this one because I don't want it to auto-tap in a weird way. Alright, how do you block, opponent? Because I think I have you dead. Let's see, so it's going to trample for 1. That's 4. So that's 5. Yeah, we have him dead. Because we play Epic Gear from hand for the last point of damage. And the opponent blocked as much damage as they could with their blocks. So they did everything they possibly could. Against this opponent, Staff of Waterdeep could be an issue. I do think Brave of Feeblement is still a bring in against this opponent. But I don't know about bringing in anything else. We'll go down 1 Hungry for More. And we'll go down... one Dying to... No, actually I want to keep Dying to Servant. I'll go down to Baleful Mastery.
A few minutes later.
This seems like a very keepable hand, so we will just hit keep. Yeah, an opponent just scoops it up. Opponent went with the we don't like this matchup. Alright. Opponent is on the play. So we can lead with the Voldaren Estate, play Epicure. That way we can play this on black, so that way we can actually play these Deadly Disputes. Yeah, that seems good. But it also allows us to potentially play the Bloodtithe Harvester as well. It's a little painful because this costs us life whenever we play the creatures off of it, but let's see. You know, this creature, it says it's a human knight, but with how dark it looks, you almost swear this was meant to be a vampire. It is a really nice art, though. Let's see, we draw White Source, which is good if we do draw into our removal. Alright, we're against a... what do you call it? A Dungeon Delving deck. So, if you remember when I was going over the... Oh, that's unique. I actually like Sunrise Cavalier. It's a very solid card. We'll keep our Epic here because I'd like to be able to get more value out of it when we do eventually have to trade it off. We bring out an Epic here, and we pass the turn. What this does is it allows us to use a double block against the Adventurer if the opponent has an answer to it. We do have these Deadly Disputes, because I'd like to prevent the opponent from potentially finishing or getting close to finishing this dungeon here. Thanks to the First Strike Death Touch nature of the card, it does require a double block for us to kill it. If they do have a pump spell or a removal spell, well, we'll just go, okay, we're not killing it this time, but we're at least getting a draw out of it. Alright, Vampire's Vengeance does allow us to kill off the Adventurer as well as sweep up the Paladin and Goblin token. I kind of want the opponent to play something that has a low toughness right now, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get that out of them. Let's see. So we actually could play Vampire's Vengeance and Harvester. Let's actually only do Vampire's Vengeance and use a Deadly Dispute to draw some more cards. I'm going to use it on their turn. That way we have the potential of getting another creature on board. Alright, unfortunately, because we used it on their turn, they didn't play anything. They're going to use this Paladin to just generate a treasure. Alright, they choose not to generate treasure. And we just pass turn. Alright, Dispute shall get us some more advantage. Drawing a lot of Edgars. Well, we are against colors that could potentially exile Edgar, so it's not a bad thing necessarily. But we have not drawn ourselves a solid red source. So that could be an issue. Because if it wasn't for the treasure we made from Deadly Dispute, we wouldn't have been able to play this Vengeance. Alright. Because we chose not to play Harvester, though, it did mean that the opponent decided to go with the Play with Fire to face. Alright, opponent plays out the Paladin. Gets them a step closer to completing their dungeon. Play out the Dying to Serve card. This is going to help us out a bit. But we're also going to play out our Harvester. I know we're giving up our only current treasure, but we do have Deadly Dispute in hand. Going to keep Edgar on the blocks in case our opponent does draw a removal spell. We're getting a little low on our life total. We don't want to just take the Paladin's hit. We do have the ability to kill the Paladin with our Harvester. Opponent gets a draw trigger. They do complete a dungeon, which means that this creature will pump their board if it was to stay alive. It doesn't turn into a 5/5 itself because it says other creatures get plus bonus. Alright, we'll hold off on playing that. And we're going to make use of Dying to Serve on our opponent's turn, in case they do actually have some kind of sweeper in their deck. Just Desperate Farmer so far. And a Cavalry. That is going to change it from night to day, but we can just use Harvester still to kill the Cavalier. Problem is, if we do, Farmer does transform. I don't know why they did that. We will block. Yes, you transformed, but we don't even have to use the creature. Opponent's down to 2. We'll still play this and pass. We want to play this because we want our guaranteed red source. We don't want to rely on the one treasure. But this also gives the ability to sacrifice things in response. Next turn, though, Edgar will flip over. So even if they board wipe, we will be able to attack in for 4. We'll just give them the good game because I can't think of a single card that they could play for 6 mana that would upset this board. Now, if it was 7 mana, I could think of... Oh, it's 8 mana. There is the card that allows you to destroy all non-land permanents. Can be played as a land. Undo Inversion, I believe it's called. But, again, that's like 7 or 8 mana to play that. I do think it's an interesting version of the deck they're playing for dungeon delving. I wasn't expecting the Sunrise Cavalier. The play with fires, not too surprising since they have the red in there. But they're trying to make themselves a low-cost aggro deck while also getting the dungeon benefits. Unfortunately, it seems we are getting the Salt Scoop from our opponent, which means we are not likely to have to play a game 2 or 3 here. The nice thing about the deck we're playing is this thing is what was I trying to say? I wasn't trying to say rotator, but you know, not having to worry about the ban list that's happening by Thursday. And again, if you missed it early in the stream, I did go over the cards that they announced that are going to be banned. So come this Thursday, we are not going to be seeing Allred's Epiphany, we're not going to be seeing Faceless Haven, and we're not going to be seeing Divide by Zero. Okay, so we're not going to show the opponent any more cards, we're just going to finish them off. Let's see. Opponent's got a lot of low aggro cards. I think Gift of Fangs probably wouldn't be bad. Neither would be another Vampire's Vengeance. Probably go. Actually, no. We'll leave Vampire Vengeance still at 2. Go down 1 Dying to Serve. Go down. Hungry for More. And we'll only do 2 Gift of Fangs. We'll do it like that.
Many minutes later.
As for... Yep, opponent just times it out. We win. Unfortunately, can't keep this hand. This hand's a keep. Machine will have to put a card on the bottom, though, but... I think we're going to put... Angie on the bottom. We'll start off with the pass, just because it's going to come and play tapped for 2 turns anyways. We're against mono white. Bring out the Bloodcaster. Hopefully our opponent does not have like a portable hold. Yeah, I think we'll block. We'll take it. I think we surprised the opponent with this block. The reason we're taking this block is it is mono white. They are all about early aggression. If you can survive the early aggression, you can usually get your way through the game. Alright, so we're going to bring up the Epic here. And we're going to pass the turn, holding up the Deadly Dispute. What shall the opponent do? Opponent will bring out a Clarion Spirit. That's okay. And another Usher. Alright. Looks like we're looking for our 2 damage sweeper here. Instead of letting the trade happen, we're just going to sacrifice it for a draw. And we draw 2 more Epicures. Not exactly what we were looking for. Let's see, let's go ahead and bring Dying Surf to the board. Oh, cancel. I meant to... We already have a lot of red sources, but I think we don't need too many white sources. Alright, we'll just pass turn. The reason why I wanted to bring another Epicure to the board is it does allow us to block the Usher of the Fallen and get a trade against it. I think I will be using this treasure here to activate a blood to get a card draw. The question is, do we discard our land here, or do we discard the other Epicure? Alright, opponent's coming in with everything. We block Usher. Alright, opponent lets the trade happen. What shall you play for your turn? Skyclave Apparition. Alright, we know what that's going to target. So we will discard Epicure. Get ourselves a 2/2 body. Alright, we got an Edgar. That's solid. Alright, we get a Harvester as well. Now, what's the more important one to get on the board? I think getting Edgar on the board is more important. But to have another Apparition, it just goes away. But then we can always follow up with Harvester on the following turn. We will bring the land down on black. They don't have an answer for Edgar, though. It is a solid blocker. Harvester, not a solid blocker because it dies to the 2/2. Alright, Brutal Cathar does allow us to potentially get Edgar back. We have enough blood tokens that we can actually kill that, because all you just need is one blood token. Alright, Hungry for More, not as important right now. We may choose to discard that, because we can always play it again from the graveyard. Thanks to the 2/2 zombie token that we got from Dying to Serve, though, we at least have a decent blocker. Because they're not going to want to trade these off at all. Alright. Intrepid Adversary, getting the 1 pump means that they might start attacking in with these, but we don't mind trading against Brutal Cathar. Alright, so we'll be able to kill Brutal Cathar next turn, thanks to Harvester, because we're not going to trade against the Spirit here. We will trade against the 1/1 token. We are going to discard Hungry for More, because we do need another type of card. We'll discard the land. And we're going to stop discarding because Harvester does require 1 to be in play. And drawing Bloodcaster is a good card. Alright, so we play Bloodcaster. I just realized that actually I technically went down 1 too many after the fact. But with how many blood cards we had, I didn't think it was too much of a worry. Let's see. Holding on Deadly Dispute is more important here because if they play another Apparition and target Edgar, we need to sacrifice it in response. Otherwise, we won't be able to get Edgar back again. Sacrificing Edgar also to a Skyclave Apparition trigger isn't the worst thing, because I was going to say we at least get ourselves a blood token and start generating the 1/1 lifelink tokens. Fortunately, this Adeline is going to be really hard for us to deal with thanks to their adversary. We will block and kill both of these just to help shrink Adeline. And we are going to start trying to get some more draw options. Alright, we got a Rite of Oblivion. That will be big. I'm going to hold off on sacrificing more. Alright, let's get rid of Adeline, giving up one of these blood. And we will bring in Angie. So we still have good blockers. We're surviving so far. Next turn, we always have the ability to use Rite of Oblivion to exile anything our opponent does that's a big threat. At the moment, this adversary is still a potential threat we want to remove. Thanks to Thalia, though, we are getting taxed on our spell. But Thalia itself isn't too much of a threat. This adversary is going to be a problem. Alright, let's get rid of the adversary, giving up one of our bloods. And we hold up on the blocks. Thanks to Angie, though, we do have the ability to still get a surprise bit of life drain against our opponent. So if they attack with them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they only do 7 damage. It will bring us down to 1. But we can recover. Alright, my opponent is going to attack in with everything. Oh, actually, I forgot about the training trigger. Alright, we block and block. Because we want the 3/3 token at this point. We activate this, and we give up the blood token. This will allow us to drain the opponent for 2, recover some life. Thanks to these Hungry for Mores, we'll be able to come back on the life total a bit. As well as get ourselves another blood token. Because it'll count as vampires entering for Angie. And we also made sure to get rid of Thalia so that we weren't taxed on our spells anymore. Let's see. Yeah, so we use Hungry for More. This will get us 4 life back. So how much? We only have 1 blocker, right? 4, 8, 12, 15. We'd be 1 short. But I don't want to take the risk of them still killing us. We'll attack in like so. Alright, and we're going to hold up the Baleful Mastery or the Angie Sacrifice as needed. I didn't attack in with any more than that just because we do still have quite the opposing force that's coming at us. Alright, Aspirant coming down. Where do you put the counter? Put it on the flyer. Okay. You attack it with everything you get. You did put anything to make it so that way you could get this larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you do have a potential lethal swing again, but we can just sacrifice to gain the life once more and survive. Alright, opponent's still going to come in, which is lethal against them. So we block, we block. I guess they're just hoping that we stumble here and do something wrong. Because we technically, yeah. Opponent was just wondering if we would pay attention to Angie. Alright, so we just bring in these and that should be all we need. We're going to leave Hungry for More in this time, but we're going to take Dying to Serve out. Again, the fast-paced deck of Mono White, the Dying to Serve is not likely to help us as much. There was an idea of bringing Gift of Fangs in, but we're going to actually keep it out. Because I'm just trying to see how many of the other cards are still good against the deck. To know if we need to dedicate as much as we are against Mono White with those kind of cards. Because I know that we have quite the weakness against Mono Green, and we might want to adjust our side deck to help us fight against that more. I actually think we have a pretty decent matchup against Mono White with how our deck works. Because we do have a lot of different control options. We do have a sweeper that works against them but doesn't affect us at all. Alright, unfortunately we don't have a way to play the Rite of Oblivion yet. But we do have a lot of the early spells that we're looking for, so we'll keep this. Opponent gets to start off with a Monk of the Open Hand. It is quite the dangerous card. So the opponent probably only has a couple ways to multi-spell here. Alright, they play a Thalia, which will start taxing our cards. I doubt they attack it. If we do, we definitely trade. Alright, we'll bring the Bloodcaster to the board and pass the turn. Unfortunately, we are looking at the possibility that the opponent can just play a creature exile Bloodcaster, but we do have the Rite of Oblivion already in our opening hand. And thanks to the blood token from Epicure, we have an easy way to sacrifice to get it back. So what shall be the opponent's play? Do they play things to grow a Monk? Alright. So that's probably what they were debating between. Do they go for the another 2/2 Monk, or do they go for the Spirit there? I think we have to take the trade, because again, we're just trying to play to stay alive. But then again, if we choose to keep this, we can always sacrifice Epicure to Rite of Oblivion. And that allows us to kill Clarion Spirit, which I think is the more dangerous card. But we get blood tokens regardless right now. I think we go for the block here. Alright. Get rid of the Clarion Spirit. And we pass turn. I want to get rid of the Clarion Spirit because it allows them to go wide really quick, and we cannot afford that to be on board. Because, as you can see, they double spelled once more. Unfortunately, Sun Gold Sentinel will get Rite of Oblivion out of our graveyard. We do have the Baleful Mastery still as another removal spell option. We'll take the hits this turn. Oh, that's a great draw for us. I think we want to wait until the opponent's turn to play that, though. So we're going to pass. Right, what does the opponent do? If they just go straight to combat, we just use the Vengeance. Alright. You activate that before going to combat. Do you play anything else, opponent? Alright, so I can't target or block it with black things, but they're moving to combat, so we will Vampire's Vengeance here. This just gives it hexproof, it's not protection, so it will die to the Vampire's Vengeance. Opponent still going to try to protect it from the spell, not realizing hexproof doesn't stop that, or just did it for fun. I'm not sure which. Alright, so we're going to get in for an attack here, and we're going to sacrifice the token that we make to Deadly Dispute, since it's going to get sacrificed at the end step anyways. Thankfully, we do draw some lands. Let's see, I think we're going to go for the Black Source and pass turn. Alright, Brutal Cathar for our opponent. We're not too worried about that, since we can just use Baleful Mastery anyways. Let's see. Bring out Red Source. Yeah, Red Source. We'll go for Angie. And now that we have Angie in play, we will use Rite of Oblivion, giving up one of our blood tokens, kind of keeping the treasure token around, and get ourselves our Epicure back. Alright, trip the adversary for our opponent. We're not too worried about it, because we'll just use Rite of Oblivion to get it off the board. And Fun scoops it up. Alright. The reason why I want to use Rite of Oblivion, though, is because if the opponent gets another Sun Guild Sentinel, they can just exile from our graveyard, so I want to use this over Bilth Mastery. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to join me while I stream, you can find me on Twitch, the link below. I hope to see you again in the next video, and have a nice one.